ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Cropper here. I am going to put up some videos in a small series here of arguments that I've had with one of my students' mothers. So I have 3 students of hers in my school, now 2, but one of them has been expelled permanently. And I just want to say a few things before, because it's drama, and I've edited very little out. There's actually a little bit of bad language, and you're going to see the fight that I put up. I actually got a message. Someone said, "Oh, Mr. Cropper, don't let your head fall off with happiness now that you've got your school opened. You've still got a long fight ahead of you." And I replied and I said, "You have no idea, brother." There's this book called The Miracle Worker, and it's by William Gibson, and it's about the deaf, blind, and mute 12-year-old Helen Keller. And her parents had taken her to this doctor and that doctor, and they were just distraught. They didn't know what to do, and they finally hired this girl who came to their house and was trying to teach Helen. And up till then, Helen was just an emotional mess, and she would just fly off into fits of rage and stuff. She's deaf and blind. Annie Sullivan comes in and supposedly is supposed to teach Helen Keller, help her out, fix her if she can, to what extent is possible. And she fought hardest against Helen Keller's parents. Now, I don't know if that's a true story or not, but I do know in the past working with people, not so much in Utah, but much more so back east, and even in Utah to some extent, working with people in any workplace. They despise change and improvement. And if you're going to improve the building, you're going to improve a system or something, they fight harder against you than they fight against people who are taking the system down, taking advantage of things, ruining things. So I knew when I opened my school that I was going to fight hardest against the people who are benefiting the most. And that is this exact fact. That's the story that's going to unravel here. It all starts one day when Caden goes home crying because he's upset I'm charging him owlers for his mistakes in spelling. We just can't. He'll spell the same word correctly 3 or 4 times, and then the next day he can't even get the first 2 letters of it. And the school said he has a disorder. It's not true. We fixed it. He was mad that day, and then the next day, and you're going to see the video from that night, from the next day. The next day he actually beat Garrett. He actually did better than Garrett in spelling. Amazing. Amazed myself. It amazed Caden. It amazed Garrett. And his mom couldn't have cared less because he came home crying one day. Now, Caden describes himself as a professional speller at this point. He loves the fact that he's good at spelling and reading now. He's no longer embarrassed to read in front of the class. Put all that on the table. He was good in social studies, or whatever that's called, before he came to my school. He was good in all of his, he was excellent in math. He was good in all of his areas except for reading and spelling. Now, I've fixed that. Okay, the one problem he had, I've fixed, and I've actually taught him something about history as well, which he had good marks in but didn't know anything about. So, now, what thanks do I get from his mother for fixing it? She is upset that he came home crying. Now, I don't think that it was my fault. I think that it's her fault, and that's proven by her behavior when he does come home crying. She says, okay, you can go back to the other school. She doesn't care why, and she doesn't care what the results of it are. Here's the golden clincher. You'll get this about 35 minutes or so in the video. I say to Caden, do you want to go back to the other school? Fine, we're going to at least wait till the end of the year and you can start because there's only 2 months left. You'll finish this year at my school and you'll go back to the other school next year. Is that a deal? And there's only a couple months left, and he says, in tears, he says, that's what I keep telling my mom. Okay? Bingo. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. He wants to stay. I hurt his feelings. I sent him home crying. He wants to stay. Weird. It turns his mother's universe upside down because emotions are the only important thing in her universe. And how could someone's emotions be hurt and that be okay? That is not okay, ever, for emotions to be hurt in her universe. Now, I said to Caden at the end of this long conversation, you'll get the bit on the video, I said, it's like you came to me from the public schools and your arm was all twisted and bent, and I had to be like a doctor who breaks the arm and straightens the bone out, puts it in a cast. And I'm a doctor. It hurts. You don't like the shot needles. You don't like the breaking of the bone. You don't like the cast being on. But then, your arm's straightened out. You're all better. I said, nobody likes it, but it's not my fault. It's the public school's fault. It's the fact you're up there in those schools. Now, he has absolutely no support from his mother to stay in my school. There's nothing that she wants more than to see my school close. The downfall of my school, because I don't put emotions as the most primary and important thing. If the kid just keeps being silly, like Caden was with spelling, he didn't try, wouldn't try, wouldn't try, wouldn't try. Everyone thought he's very cute. Oh, how cute. Caden can't spell again today. Oh, how cute. He forgot how to spell that word. How cute, how cute. It's not. And he feels better about himself knowing how to spell and calling himself a professional speller. He feels better about himself now than if he would have just kept being cute. So, even if emotions are your primary concern, you've got to say it's better to fix the kid. Well, because his mother just kept getting... I would send him home when he hurt his brother or sister, and his mother would get mad at me because he would be crying when he gets in the car. He whips up tears. Sure, maybe on purpose, maybe not. Doesn't matter which way. He hurts somebody and I send him home and he doesn't get in trouble. She gets mad at me. How hard am I going to fight to keep him in the school? I've kicked him out. It was too much. I kicked him out and I let the kids let him back in. Congress, the kids voted and they said, we'll let him back in. If you watch my Congress at the Academy videos, you'll see that. And then he did it again. Yet again. So that time I said, he's out, we're done. She may take the other two children out for the fall, and maybe their 4 friends then will follow. These 7 kids, maybe all will go because of this one. But I fixed the one problem he had, and no thanks to me. They don't care to thank me for it. Instead, she's mad at me because he came home crying, even though he's not mad about that. He's all set on that. That's fine, because he's a professional speller, and he sees that, and you'll see it if you watch the video that follows, that he sees that he needed to try harder. And I said, what if I didn't get as angry with you then? And I was going to say, you could probably put in the effort and learn anyways, and he preempted me. He said, then I probably wouldn't learn as fast. That, I think, is probably true. Now, go ahead and enjoy the scandal, and have a, you're going to be a bit embarrassed probably during some of it. That's all I can say. It's been months since we had this conversation. 5-6 months now, and this is where it stands today as it is. I'm presently middle of the summertime, and this was back in like February or January or something. So it's all come to a head now. He has been kicked out formally. He's done. He's not coming back, and possibly her other 2 children aren't going to be coming back. They want to, and Caden would probably even come back if I had let him. They want to come back, but she probably won't let him because emotions are not the most important thing at my school. The child's mind is the most important thing, and she does not think that that is acceptable. So be it. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to get one on you no matter what with Caden. I told you so. If he goes back to public schools, he's going to be distraught, and he's going to be sad about missing out on everything that happens here every day. And if he stays here, he's probably going to be a little upset that you wouldn't let him go. But maybe if we talk him into it, maybe if we tell him a few more weeks or something. Now, that's what I wanted to ask you about, is how elaborate was this withdrawing process? How much did you have to do to get him back in the public schools? Did he have to
I don't have him back in the public schools.
Oh, okay. Have you talked to him yet? Do you know?
No, he just said, and I said, well, whatever, and he said, I want to keep going and try, and I said, that's fine. Good, whatever.
Today might be a good day for us to talk about it then, because today's the day that he blew Garrett out of the water.
Well, but still, it's just...
He might be mature enough to realize that I've helped him. Now, he cried one day and it hurt his feelings, but what about the fact that he can spell better than Garrett all of a sudden? Really sudden. He's been in the school 6 months, and in 2 weeks we awakened his ability to spell. Maybe he's going to be able to appreciate